Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, dive into the TA. Alright guys, we'll kick it off here with SPY, go over QQQ, and we're gonna cover the Mag 7 stocks this video, and I have some trade ideas going into tomorrow for you. Alright, so SPY guys, they did decide to rug it right into close. We did fill yesterday's, we got the gap down. Didn't exactly fill on a closing basis up there, but we did end up filling the wick there. We just kind of had that gap in price. And we did find sellers off of there. We actually found sellers off of the golden pocket intraday over here. If we just take a look at that, we had this initial spike over here. Apparently, Trump has some positive news. I don't know exactly when that's going to be coming out, but I'm guessing over the coming trading sessions. I don't know if he's going to try and announce it tomorrow with the FOMC presser. Really not sure. Like, we're already looking for that FOMC presser to be bringing some volatility to the table. We're either going to be moving down, getting a larger scale pullback starting tomorrow, or we will start a pump. Jerome is going to pump the market. We don't know which we're going to get, but I'm just going to tell you, no matter what happens with that presser, which is at 2:30 Eastern Standard Time, we have the rate announcement at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So for that first half a day, we really can do whatever, price really wants to do. I know market participants are going to be sitting on their hands a lot of the day. So it could be a muted session up until then, but I do think we're definitely looking more bullish than not heading into the event. I think we definitely can, get some follow through from this original move off of this event. Actually, before we go over SPY and QQ, I'm just going to go over some charts here that suggest, yeah, we probably are. All right. So first things first, Nvidia over here. No matter what the market does, I mean, Nvidia is the king. It usually drags the NASDAQ in either direction, wherever it wants to go. And when Nvidia is not doing much, the market is at a standstill. Well, Nvidia looks like it's going to be breaking up. Sellers have now had 2 trading sessions where they could have, technically it was 3. But 2 trading sessions at a minimum here where they could have given this thing a larger sell. They could have really made this get real ugly real quick. They did not. At the same time, we know how the larger time frame is already set up going into this event tomorrow. And now we can see today, I know they rugged you right into close, guys. All right, right into close, they killed you. But you had a real bullish look going into tomorrow up until that rug. We were talking about it. Discord, we knew, all right, if they wanted to do it, they were going to do it right there. That last 15-minute candle. What did they do over here on QQQ, guys? Oh, they freaking rugged it. All right, they rugged it. Okay, we got our piece of the pie today. Things were, honestly, we had some clean moves today, guys. You don't have to catch them all. You just need to catch, 1 to 2 trades a day. You're typically going, actually 1 to 2. You're good. That's where you go for consistency, okay? We typically will get 2 to 4 trade setups each day. Up to you to take your piece of the pie. All right, but if you are clearly executing on a strategy that you built around the intraday price action, guys, we get very repeatable patterns. I'm not talking about just the candlestick patterns. All right, but as far as the technical analysis goes, that's the basis of it, okay? It's repeatable. And if you're designing a strategy around the intraday price action, we get variations of the same days all of the time. So you could be taking the same exact setups. My personal setups, we get like 2 to 4 a day. It's not always going to be perfect in this environment, guys. It's not always going to be the best to swing, but I will just say right now, I think Hood is about to pop off. I also think Nvidia is about to pop off. And if we could get both of those guys popping off in the same day, get a little cost action going up here. I think cost is probably doing one of these guys right there. QQ just hit that alert. AMD earnings are after the bell. Well, they're going right now. But yeah, give me cost, Nvidia, Hood. Let's get going. Yeah, we're gonna have a good time. All right, and congrats. I'll hit this button for you. Congrats to anybody who played HIMS. I personally was I was distracted and slow off the open. I didn't even have the HIMS chart open, but this was a top watch in the focus list coming into this week. This is the exact setup we highlighted into the week, and this really would have carried this week, right? So May 16 calls, guys, at the high of day, from low of day, they hit it with 20x. That's $1,000 turned to 20K. That's 5K turning into 100 grand. Okay. That's the type of days some people had over here on HIMS. And if that was you, congratulations, all right? So we put the setup on your radar. We said the best course of action was to wait to see if you got no move off of earnings or a move down, where you then have call premiums crushed. We know the weekly, the higher time frames, you know, it was suggested we were going to probably be seeing further upside this week. So if we saw a dip off of earnings, or we, you know, consolidated, didn't move, and saw all the call premiums die, that was, you know, our cue to start, you know, looking for an entry over there. This thing just took off like a rocket, and yeah, 15 minutes later, it moved 30%. So congrats if you took that, if you played this guy. It's had quite the move. It closed up 18%, but from the lows, 32%. This thing is likely to continue. I'm not telling anybody to chase it right here, but I do think if you see a pullback, it's probably going to be bought up. We have another big day loading over here. And as price extends over here, I was telling the Discord today on voice, you know, this thing is going to have the same kind of percent moves, and it's just more people are hearing about it. They're talking about this momentum, okay? Whether it be short squeeze or it just be straight up momentum. All right, the higher this thing goes, the more likely we are going to get some really freaking volatile days over here on him. So keep it on your radar. This was a very expectable move here. I was expecting it. I'm very salty I missed it. Nonetheless, I think hood right over here. I think this is going to start popping off over the coming trading sessions. And if we could just have the market not get a gap down tomorrow, I think hood and Nvidia specifically, I think these setups can ignite. Regardless, you know, these are the types of things I'm looking at today that make me think we're probably not going to be fading tomorrow. You know, you got Google. Google over here, guys, the other guys, they had their moves. Okay, they had their moves. Nvidia, or not Nvidia, GOOG and Nvidia, it didn't move as well. All right, but it's just sitting down here. It's so close to that 200 daily moving average. Like, it's very likely it's going to get up there. We clearly have this 3-day range. If it pops above 168.46, we can get that move up to 172.91. You know, that is right around that 200 DMA. We got GOOG, we got Nvidia looking like that. We have Apple, so this is the spot we pointed out over here. You know, this is where buyers are going to hold it. It's going to be right here in the golden pocket around that 198.23 level. That was a previous all-time high over here. Big spot. Okay, big spot. You have the trend line break and retest, downtrend break and retest, big previous all-time high horizontal support. And now we're putting in a doji candlestick right here, guys, and, you know, in the golden pocket. But yeah, we're putting in a doji candlestick in that perfect spot. And, you know, I am just going to say we can go either way from here. But, you know, you got Google, you got Nvidia over there looking like we're probably going to continue. You got things like Apple, you have Microsoft, and these things can just go either way, all right? Does this weekly candle look like something you want to fade? Probably not, all right? We could very easily either tomorrow get a bearish catalyst off of Mr. Jerome there at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and this thing fades under here, and we're going to start coming back down to fill the gap. Or we can very easily just continue going. Okay, it's going to be one or the other. Once this thing starts going, like, you guys don't think the most you know, the biggest, the largest rallies here are the most hated rallies. A lot of people are looking at the same thing I am, and they're like, what the heck is this thing? It has to come down. All right, and then as price goes up, you know, don't hate it. Okay, just let it do its thing. If it does come down, let it come to you. But, you know, even if it starts coming back down about halfway through this gap, you're going to have the 200 daily moving average. That's probably going to give you a little dead cat bounce at least anyway. All right, but, you know, Microsoft can go either way. Apple can go either way. Nvidia looks like it'll go up. Google looks like it'll go up. Amazon can go either way. All right, so this, you retested our key level there. That's why it's the blue level, 184.40. All right, Meta, I'm not going to say it looks good, but if it does pull back to 580 tomorrow, that is where I personally want to buy it coming into this week. All right, that's right there at the 200 daily moving average. It's right there at your key horizontal level right there that you reclaimed. Very key spot here. So, like, you know, a lot of these things look like we could just bounce. Like, this is not something that, you know, maybe you get a few weeks of consolidation here and then you rip up. But this is something that's very likely going to lead to higher prices. If you retest the 200 daily moving average over here on Meta, expect buyers, okay? But again, you know, you got something set up like this on a hood. I don't think it's going to move against the market. I think if the market just has a tame move, I think this thing can, it's got all the fuel it needs from its own self here. If the market wants to make a bullish move up tomorrow, then it's going to have extra bullish fuel on the fire over here. If this thing starts getting moving and grooving above 51.30, oh, baby. This is PLTR 2.0. You knew the move coming into the week. You knew the move, and they were going to start you with a gap down. They were going to take you underneath that low, and then they are going to rally you. And we're going to see, all right, if we get Jerome kicking this party off over here to the upside, then we'll have that exact same scenario. You gap down, took out that last week's low. Now we just need to close out up here. This is a recipe for getting back up here. All right, regardless. Very clear short-term setup over here for the pop above 51.30 up into 54.84. Put it on your radar. It's ready to go. There's a little freebie there. I give a bunch of them in these videos. If you are new to the channel, please remember to hit that subscribe button. I know people probably forget. What we provide here on this channel, it's all you need to be profitable in this market. It's all you need to know where the puck is going to be moving at all times. All right. We do the weekly update every weekend. So we know the game plans and setups going into the week. All right. And then I do these daily updates. Okay. If you do want to come trade with me live, if you want to catch those, we're going to say 2 to 4 trade setups intraday there. That is going to be that. I swing trade option stuff too, but the main thing over there is you can come live trade with me. I'll share my screen. We will run this market together. All right. But yeah, hood guys, definitely put it on your radar. I think it is time. I think it is freaking time. All right. Now let's talk about the broad market. If we get underneath 556.96, today's low, if we break under that tomorrow or gap down under it, okay, we are watching 549.68 to 553.68. That is this next key spot for us to hold, specifically this level right here on the daily chart. This is where, same concept on hood. You came down 2 days in a row. You held that 21 EMA. All right, momentum over here. Okay, it's not building the momentum, but it's collecting energy over here. It's consolidating. It's getting tight, guys. The market doesn't like to stay tight. It just means there's a lack of volatility. There's a lack of shares exchanging hands. At some point, one side is going to give, and then you get your trending move. That is what happens on any chart, any ticker, on every single time frame. That is what happens. And it's getting ready over here. All right, but SPY over here, I'm just going to say, it would look pretty wonky to just continue selling off of this. We've had, 2 of these back-to-back candlesticks. We have other things, the Mag 7 stocks, in a position where we can bounce. We still haven't tested the 200 daily moving average on SPY, QQQ, NQES. We just haven't. All right. I think it's very likely we will. And a bunch of these individual tickers, semiconductor stocks, like, stuff over here like TSM. All right. We're right underneath the 200 daily moving average. And, this is another ticker that suggests, yeah, all right, perfect spot to bounce back from after, pulling back over here. You got something like AVGO. Again, real clean look to you, just like Nvidia. Guys, chips lead the tech lead broad market. Well, all right, some of these chips are set up to move. I'm really liking how some of these things are set up, specifically TSM and AVGO, and then the king Nvidia. Nvidia specifically, it looks like it's just going to take that out. Is this something that you want to be fading? Maybe if it really starts breaking down under here, you can play it short down to over here. But, this to me looks like, no, this thing is clearly just continuously testing the same exact spot. You're seeing both step up where they got to step up. At some point, this thing's going to snap, and it's very likely going to be the upside. And if that does happen, this move right here can happen quick. All right, the move to 118.92, it comes quick. You now have this range here. Well, that was $4. Guys, it doesn't take much to get up there. You can do that all in one day. So we'll see what we get tomorrow. But, honestly, I'm leaning bullish into this event. I'll trade what I'm given. I do so every morning. I provide the Discord with the game plan. the game plan over there, it's SPY and QQQ for NQES, and then we have our 1 to 2 option trades that we're watching out for that day. But recently we've been getting a crap ton of gap downs, and it's honestly best to just take the approach in the morning, see what the market is giving you, guys. We've had these 15-minute bullish divergences on NQES, SPY, and QQQ not every day. I don't know what I was just saying. For the past 2 days, not every day. But for the past 2 days, we've had them on almost every ticker. I was trying to say every ticker. I said every day. On every ticker the last 2 days. You've just came down, met over here. You didn't end up coming down to retest what I was looking for over there at 580, but you did have these bullish divergences here on the 15-minute RSI coming into the close, not the close, the open over here, and you ended up pushing up, almost took out previous day's high. Like, you know, Meta, even though it looks ugly, I understand, it's still not something that you're looking to short. Just look at the weekly chart. It's over the 21 EMA. You're over the 200 DMA. It's on the weekly 21, the daily 200. You're coming into big horizontal support that was resistance that you just reclaimed. You already tested as support over here. 4-hour 21 EMA happens to be exactly where that key horizontal level is, as well as the 200. 15-minute RSI. If you test 580 tomorrow, that would provide your perfect entry. You risk right under there. Your 15-minute RSI is going to be oversold. Let's see if we get a bullish divergence into it. Like, guys, these are the things we're going to look for tomorrow morning. And, you know, if we get some of these are some nice setups to take tomorrow. All right. But yeah, I mean, I think we have this, we kind of do have this look across the board where it doesn't really make too much sense to sell much more. It really doesn't. I think, you know, we probably are going to continue higher tomorrow. But I'm guessing. All right. But we'll follow along with it as we see it. Okay. Today, you know, I talk about the golden pocket all the time, guys. Please start using it. All right. Right over here, you got golden pocket. Okay. You literally tested the golden pocket. That's where you sold off of. Okay. What happened next? You got bought up off of the next golden pocket, and we caught it again. All right. So we caught this move right here. We caught this little thing. It's freaking skyrocketed in a minute on us. All right. Luckily sold right into it. But what happened? You rejected right at the golden pocket. It was also previous day's low right there. All right. And then, yeah, I mean, what was the next thing? Oh, golden pocket. Golden pocket inception. A 1, a 2, a 3. That's golden pocket inception. I've coined the term. All right. And yeah, that's what we're getting right now, guys. This is a tool where, you know, you can use these to design your intraday trade setups for yourself every single day. And we're going to have to see how we open up into tomorrow. But if we open up with things like, you know, Meta's 15-minute RSI will be oversold as we're coming straight into, you know, that exact spot we're watching. That's the key area. 200 DMA, weekly 21, horizontal support, 15-minute RSI being oversold. You know, if you're going to take the retracement from this whole move here, oh, where is it? It's right there around our key level. Okay, we have 4 things of confluence going on there. You know, these are the things we're going to look for tomorrow. All right, but let's quickly go over these levels over here on SPY and QQQ. I pretty much just showed, you know, all the trade ideas are really, you know, I wanted to show you going into tomorrow. We got them out the way. All right, so, you know, I hope you guys enjoy it. I know, you know, we're not always just going to keep it, like, you know, straightforward here the same exact way every day. All right, but we will guaranteed cover SPY and QQQ every single day, and you're going to have a game plan going into the following trading session, bearish or bullish. You're going to know what you're expecting. Please remember, guys, leave a like so we can pump the YouTube algorithm. YouTube algorithm has definitely not picked up this channel, but I do my best to provide you guys with actionable value here every single day. Well, 5 days a week. We're off 2 days a week. But yeah, all right. So on the downside, watch for the break underneath 556.96. The next key spot we're watching is 553.68 and then 549.68. You want to be holding that. If we start losing it, that's bad. I'm going to honestly take off that level right there. Underneath here, if you start losing 549.68, we're watching 541, you lose here, it's clip. You're coming down. But automatically, if you start losing here, you know you're probably coming towards here. You lose here, you're coming down there. I don't think you get that move all in one day. I don't think we're going to have that volatility back in the market. VIX is sitting underneath 25 right now. 4-hour RSI does have that bullish divergence. So that is something, you know, I let the Discord know this morning. And guess what, guys? The indices were coming up as VIX is looking like this. VIX over 2480, this thing can pop. All right, so this is the key spot right here. The 4-hour cloud is starting to flip back to bullish. It's, you know, on the next 4-hour candle, it does it. That's going to be, you know, tomorrow morning. Hey, if this thing wants to just continue pushing a little more, it's probably going to get a decent pop. Okay, so that could give us a sell tomorrow. And if we sell into the event, then maybe we bounce off of the event because of how some of those charts I just showed you are looking. Okay, if we sell and Meta gets down there, then odds are it's going to bounce. Well, a lot of these things move together, guys. Okay, they're all part of our puzzle. But, you know, VIX does look like it could bounce a little. I don't think it's just going to spike back up above 28.32. But if it does, it's going to start a little bit more of a spike. It's going to start a bigger one. And we can get back up here if we get above here. All right. So that's what you're watching over there on the downside in SPY. Just to review, 556.96, 553.68, 549.68. And that's all you're really concerning yourself with. You better hold here, bulls. You better hold here. Bad things happen. Now, I am still biased alongside. We haven't hit these 200 daily moving averages yet. So, you know, if we do get a larger sell here, I think it's going to get bought up before making new lows. I think we test these 200 daily moving averages. At that point, I think we are just, you know, I think on this next move, if we are to start the larger sell of Jerome here, and this thing really does tank, I think it's probably going to find buyers somewhere over here. We're probably then going to really rip after that. That's what I would have to assume. But, you know, we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about tomorrow. On the upside, all right? Levels you could be paying attention to on the upside include 561.40. I'll just come over the 4-hour time frame. Yeah, we'll cover it on the hourly. 561.40, 563.35. If you take out today's high at 563.35, you're likely going to start pushing up to 568.38. And at that point, over the following trading session, we're probably hitting that 200 daily moving average at 573. And we expect sellers between 573 and 575.35. This area is likely to be defended. This area is where we also have the golden pockets. The pockets. All the way up here. All right. So you have 0.786 fib right there in between there and 575. This is like really where we're looking to risk shorts. This is where we're looking to put those on. There's that. All right. So now let's go over QQQ, guys, on the downside. All right. You're watching for, you know, break underneath today's low, but really, you know, the key level. This was what we were watching coming into today, 479.56. You can see it being respected here this morning. All right, and there we go. Okay, you got the false breakdown. And, you know, we knew not to really be chasing this guy because what happened? Because we had these crazy 15-minute bullish divergences on almost every ticker we were looking at. Never a good idea to chase downside on that point. All right, so we knew we were looking for the long. And after we printed this first 15-minute candlestick there, and that recovery, you know, somewhere, I think I entered one right over here. And we took the other one on the breakout. And we caught that move over there. We caught this guy over here, okay? But, you know, just please, golden pocket, divergences, 15-minute time frame. If you're intraday trading, just take advantage of them. Just take advantage of them. Okay? So we'll go like that. All right. And then, yeah, so we're watching 479.56, 476.18, and 472.91. Just like SPY has these, you know, levels that we're looking to hold. Well, over here, you know, you're looking to hold 472.91. You don't want to give that level up. We come over to the 4-hour time frame. Ideally, we're just going to push up off of what we have right now. We're not going to see this 4-hour cloud flip bearish. We're just not going to see it happen. We're going to take out 485.05 and we're going to continue up to 489.03. And then we have the 200 daily moving average sitting right above at 491. All right, so that's what we're watching on the upside over here on QQQ for tomorrow. On the downside, you're really just going to watch right here. I'll mark it out with a circle. If you cannot hold your key level over here, 479.56, if you take out today's low at 478.19, that point, we're going to watch 476.18. If that doesn't hold, 472.91. All right, that's your little, you know, that's where things got tight up in here. And then you went boom. All right, if you want to level underneath there, 469.59. I'm going to personally take that off of my chart, but you know, that you would want that to hold. All right, so that's SPY and QQ here, guys. You know, we did already go over the trade ideas I was going to pitch to you guys at the second half of the video, but I will just review these right here. We have Nvidia looking like normally when we have something like this, it's getting all tight up in here. You normally get it snapping above, okay? This is very clearly something that wants to break. Bulls continue to test this level up here, and they're holding it where they have to. All it needs is to break above 115.10 intraday, and I think this thing is probably ready to fly up to 118.92 that day or the next trading session. That's the video over there. The next one I am going to talk about right here is GOOG. All right, this is one that, you know, it was a lagger. It was one that was showing weakness. Other guys have gotten some moves. Meta, Microsoft, they've gotten some of their moves. This guy has not. All right, this guy is just kind of in a inverse head and shoulders kind of pattern here. I'll just draw it out for you guys. Like that, you know, whether you want to make it that or you want this to be like that. Regardless, you have some sort of inverse head and shoulders pattern. It doesn't matter about the pattern. I understand it sounds stupid. Oh, head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders. Talk about the psychology, guys. The psychology of this move. Follow the yellow brick road, okay? Downtrend. You're in downtrend. You make a low over here, okay? What happens over here? You're starting to take out highs. You're starting to switch that trend. You're starting to see buyers finally step in, breaking the bearish structure. You had a lower high being set right here. Okay, because this was the last high. This was a break and retest off of this key level right there. Well, guess what? Then price came down to a low. You made a higher low and then came up and made a higher high. Right there, right then there, you know the momentum is starting to shift to the upside. If you get a pullback into your short-term moving averages, you are likely going to see buyers step in. And if they could take you past that high, that's when you have a nice little trade together. Okay, that's when you could get involved in this pullback here. You could either risk it down here or you could play it. If you get above here, you know you're probably getting up into this area right here. 172.91 to 176.90. We don't know exactly where sellers are going to step in, but we have the 200 daily moving average right there. So if we do get above 168.46, very likely going to make this move on that same day. That's a $4 move. If not, the second day. There you go. And if it's a second day, maybe you take profits on that first day, have your runners. On that second day, you're probably, if you're going to reverse from there, you're going to probably gap up or get some continuation the next day. Print an upper wick. Maybe the upper wick comes all the way up here to 176.90. You have a chance to take profits on that. And then maybe the close of the candlestick comes all the way underneath the 200 daily moving average and gives us a rejection. We are automatically going to expect rejection on these 200 daily moving average tests. Just like over here on the broad market on S&P 500 on SPY. All right. Aside from that, guys, watch Hood. Please just put Hood on your radar. This is the exact same setup on PLTR. I've been pounding the table on this.
That was easy.
And I am going to hit this button a few times tomorrow if we just see Hood pop above 51.30. I think it's getting very close. And I think we could get that clean, you know, that clean 8 to 10% move over 1 to 2 trading sessions very quick here. I think it's right around the corner. Aside from that, Meta, you're playing off of 580, the retest over there of your 580 key level. That's where the golden pocket for this move up was. And that is also going to be right there where the 15-minute RSI is going to get into oversold territory, or we will see it do this. Lower low. Higher low. All right. So those are my trade ideas for you tomorrow. And if you are trading the indices, you're going to have to watch how that thing is opened. You have the game plan. You know the levels you're paying attention to. Put them on your chart. They are valid. Okay. If your levels are not giving you exact reactions, if they're not good reactions, then you can always steal my levels. I give them to you free here. And if you want consistent levels throughout the live trading session there, and you want to just trade with me live, link is down below to come join me in doing so. All right. But the level over here to watch, 198.23. The low was 198.21. This is where your reactions are coming in. We know there's interest here. You know, Apple's another ticker, just like Nvidia and Google over there, that suggests, you know, we could have bottomed here. You pair this with, again, you know, just another sector over here, Coinbase. Okay, Coinbase, this is something we get potentially before you pivot off of it. All right, that's where we get these candlesticks off. You swept the low, you held the daily 21 EMA. Picture perfect. This thing's going to get bought up tomorrow, and you're going to continue pushing. You're right here, and you pivot off of it. I'm not saying that's going to happen. You come over here to the SIR of Bitcoin, and, oh, buyers are defending here. The daily 21 EMA is right there at 92.79K. We know that's a key level. If it's tested, expect buyers. We're already seeing buyers defend it even before testing it. Expect the buyers there. It's likely just cooling off before it continues pushing. Coin can get some legs going. I think MSTR not going to be doing bad. Pair that with something like we've had a lot of bullish flow for IBIT coming in recently. You know, this is something that this is the monthly time frame, guys. This is how Bitcoin right now. People are bearish on Bitcoin. I want you to just look at this chart. It's a picture perfect break and retest, test of the golden pocket, falling wedge breakout. It doesn't get sexier than this. It really does not. You know, daily RSI was nearing oversold territory. Put in the weekly hammer right over. Like, this looks so freaking beautiful. Okay, it's likely going to continue. And yeah, I mean, I'm leaning bullish into tomorrow. We'll see what we get. I'll trade what we're given, and you know how to trade what you're given as well. Good luck tomorrow. And with that being said, I appreciate y'all, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. I see now my screen moved. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.